Many are called, few are chosen. This is a tough saying of Jesus. Indeed, we would much rather focus on the earlier part of the parable, when the master of the wedding feast is sending out his servants to invite both good and bad alike. All are welcome. We prefer that Jesus, the inviting Jesus, the open Jesus, the Jesus who speaks to our modern sensibilities of tolerance and inclusion. What is up with this other Jesus? This Jesus who kicks a guy out of the wedding feast simply because he's wearing the wrong garment? In today's parable, Jesus once again defies our categories. He once again defies our attempts to put him in a box, to make him fit our plastic statues of him. In this parable of the wedding feast, Jesus refuses to let us be comfortable, to let us be satisfied with merely accepting the invitation. We want to be comfortable. We want to say, okay, well, there are those people that didn't accept the invitation, but I'm here. I'm a Catholic. I've accepted the invitation. I come to church or I watch Mass online. But what we realize in this parable is that it's one thing to accept the invitation. It's another thing to dress appropriately. Now, what does this mean? Let us not be satisfied here with facile and surface-level interpretations. To be clear, Jesus is not talking about how we dress to come to church. Nor is he giving us the okay to exclude people based on our own sensibilities and judgments and prejudices. That would again be us trying to fit Jesus into our preconceived notions. Far too many of us, myself included, fall into the trap of segregating the church into camps: conservative and progressive, Latin Mass, Life Teen Mass, true Catholics and wannabe Catholics. But the challenge that Jesus presents to us in this parable is a challenge to all believers, conservative and progressive, traditional and praise and worship lovers, Catholic and Protestant, to every human person who claims to follow Christ. The first thing that jumps out at us when we hear Jesus talking about this guy that shows up to the wedding garment wearing the wrong wedding feast, this guy who shows up to the wedding feast wearing the wrong garment. The first thing that jumps out to us is two things. First, he was invited. Second, he accepted the invitation. He showed up. For my friends, it is not merely enough to be invited. It is not enough to say yes to the invitation. We must clothe ourselves in the wedding garment. But let's unpack that some more. At our baptism, we are all given a wedding garment. Here, at St. Ignatius, it's this little white bib that we give to the baby. And we say to little Johnny, who's been baptized, Johnny, you have been clothed with Christ. And then we turn to the parents and the godparents, and they say, it is your job to make sure that Johnny brings this garment unstained into eternal life. Now, I don't know about you, but my garment has a bunch of stains. I stain it every day. And there are times when I need to bring it to the cleaners, meaning the confessional, right? But there are many ways that our garments can be stained. But we happen to have a pope right now who draws our attention in his preaching over and over again to one particular stain that is all too common in our modern world. Pope Francis speaks repeatedly of the gospel imperative to care for the poor, to care for the marginalized. In this, he stands on the bedrock of Catholic social teaching, which directs us to work for the common good. Our polarized ideological camps, left and right, ignore that Catholic social teaching preaches, yes, the preeminence of the evil of abortion, while simultaneously reminding us that our fight for human dignity means that we must fight for the dignity of the unborn all the way to the tomb. A baby who was saved by abortion, if that baby then grows up to commit a crime and is on death row, the Catholic Church stands with that person as well. The unborn, the refugee, the death row inmate, the seamless garment of pro-life. Pope Francis reminds me over and over again that I am, in fact, my brother's keeper. That if I ignore the suffering of my brother or sister or an indignity done to them, no matter what they believe or where they're from, what they've done, if I ignore that, then I'm just continuing the sin of Cain and Abel. As Pope Francis makes clear repeatedly in his preaching, we must live out our faith every single day. Not just by showing up or watching Mass on YouTube. In fact, Pope Francis just published an encyclical, which is a letter to the world, called Fratelli Tutti, in which he returns to this theme over and over again. I highly recommend that you read it. Read the Pope's words for himself. Please do not rely on a blog or on a website or on sound bites or even on YouTube videos. Don't just take my word for it. Go and read Pope Francis for himself. Pope Francis, our pastor, our universal pastor, is challenging us, just as today's parable challenges us to not rest on our laurels. We are challenged to not deceive ourselves. To be clear, my salvation is not guaranteed. Your salvation is not guaranteed. Yes, it is possible that we will go to heaven. Yes, it is possible we will go to hell. The choice is ours. We have been invited to the feast. We have even accepted the invitation, but what wedding garment am I wearing? I get to choose that for myself. I get to choose whether I will dress for the wedding feast of the Lamb or the black mass of the damned. And Jesus in the gospel makes it abundantly clear how I choose my garment. I choose my garment by how I love. We will be judged on how we love, not on how much of the creed we understand. We will be judged on how we love and how we cooperate with God's grace through the sacraments and through our encounters with His chosen people. We will be judged on our friendship with Christ, on how we treat those with whom He identifies most, the little ones, the poor, the marginalized. With every moral decision I make, I am picking my wedding garment. This is not the works righteousness that our Protestant brothers and sisters so often accuse us of preaching. No, to be absolutely clear, we do not and cannot earn heaven. Heaven was earned for us by Jesus on the cross. But we can lose heaven. We are not saved by our good works, but we're not saved without them either. If this sounds hard, it's because it is. Many are called, few are chosen. The chosen are the ones who realize that just showing up is good, but it's not enough. The chosen are the ones who insist that merely affirming the creed, merely believing what the church teaches, is in itself good, but not enough. The chosen are the ones who want to be the salt of the earth, the light of the world. The chosen are the ones who believe that a God who is Emmanuel, God with us, is calling us, the church, to continue his incarnation in the world by being his hands, his feet. The chosen are the ones who live their faith every single day. We've been invited. We've accepted the invitation. And now we get to clothe ourselves anew every day in our wedding garment. We were given a garment at baptism. And if you're like me, you've stained it a bit. We can bring it to the cleaners. We can bring it to become a new garment. And we can go forth from this Mass resolved to live our faith day in and day out, 24/7, 365. Many are called, but few are chosen, and the chosen are those who proclaim with confidence the antiphon from today's responsorial psalm. By living my faith, I shall live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. All the days. Every